The alarm buzzed for the fourth time. Aman's hand shot out from under the blanket and slammed it off. His head pounded from another late night spent scrolling through meaningless videos. Motivational clips, success reels, gym inspiration. He watched everything, but did nothing. He sat up slowly, rubbing his face, eyes bloodshot from sleep deprivation. "Tomorrow," he whispered, like he had every other morning for the past 6 months. "Tomorrow, I'll start for real." But tomorrow never came. Aman, 26, once dreamed of becoming a filmmaker. He'd quit his stable job to chase it. But now his camera gathered dust on the shelf. His passion had turned into frustration, his confidence into excuses. Every day he watched others succeed online, and every night he drowned himself in regret. The walls of his small apartment echoed with silence and unfulfilled potential. One day, after another failed attempt to film his short project, Aman threw his notebook across the room. "What's the point?" he yelled. "I'm not good enough. Everyone's already miles ahead." His voice cracked, not from anger, but exhaustion. He slumped to the floor, tears sliding down his cheeks. For the first time, he admitted it to himself. He wasn't just tired, he was lost. At that exact moment, his phone buzzed. A message from his old mentor, Ravi. "Still chasing your dream, kid, or just chasing distractions?" Aman stared at the message. It felt like a punch to the chest. Ravi had been a tough coach years ago, when Aman interned at a small film studio. The man believed in discipline, in focus, in pain before success. Aman hadn't talked to him since leaving. Before he could talk himself out of it, Aman typed back, "Honestly, I don't know anymore." The reply came seconds later. "Come to the studio tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. sharp. Don't be late." Aman hesitated. 6 a.m. He hadn't seen that hour in months. But something in Ravi's tone, calm, commanding, certain, stirred something inside him. That night, for the first time in forever, Aman set his alarm and actually meant it. The next morning was cold gray and heavy with fog. Aman stood outside the old studio, camera bag slung across his shoulder. He almost turned back twice, but then he saw Ravi, tall, stern, with silver in his beard and fire in his eyes, waiting by the gate. "You made it," Ravi said with a smirk. "Didn't think you would." Aman exhaled, embarrassed. "I almost didn't." "That's the problem," Ravi replied. "You almost do everything. Almost start. Almost finish. Almost believe." He turned and walked into the studio. Aman followed. Inside, it was like stepping into a memory, the smell of dust, lights, wires, and dreams. Ravi tossed him a notebook. "From now on, you're going to write one goal. Just one. Not 10, not 5. One clear goal. Then you'll train your mind like an athlete trains his body to reach it." Aman frowned. "Just one goal?" Ravi nodded. "Yes, because the undisciplined mind runs in circles. But a focused one becomes unstoppable." That line hit Aman deep. Unstoppable. He wanted that. To feel powerful again, in control, alive. Ravi stepped closer. "You think success is about motivation. Wrong. Motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. You can't control how you feel every day, but you can control what you do despite those feelings." Aman nodded slowly. "So how do I start?" Ravi smiled. "By learning to sit with your discomfort and do the work anyway. Every morning, every night, without fail. Discipline your mind first, everything else will follow." For the first time in a long while, Aman felt something shift inside him. A spark, fragile but real. As he opened the notebook and wrote his goal, his hand trembled. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't grand. It simply said, "Finish my first short film within 30 days." He closed the notebook. Ravi's voice echoed softly. "Remember, Aman, clarity is power. A clear goal can cut through any storm." The fog outside began to lift. And for the first time in months, So did Aman's. The first morning of change always feels powerful. The second feels painful. By the third, most people quit. Aman was close to quitting by day 3. The excitement he felt after meeting Ravi had vanished. His body ached from early mornings. His eyes burned from editing late into the night, and his old habits clawed at him like chains. Why am I even doing this? He muttered as he stared at the half-finished video project on his screen, his voice cracked with fatigue. He thought about skipping just one day. Just one. But then he remembered Ravi's words. You can't build a disciplined mind if you only work when you feel good. He sighed, picked up the camera again, and started shooting. Over the next few weeks, Ravi became more than a mentor. He was a mirror reflecting everything a man needed to face. Every morning at 6 a.m., they met at the studio. Every morning, Ravi pushed him harder. Your mind will lie to you. Ravi said one cold morning as Aman struggled to focus the lens. It will tell you you're tired, that you're not ready, that tomorrow's better. That's not truth. That's weakness. Aman wiped the sweat from his brow. So what's the truth then? Ravi's gaze was sharp. The truth is simple. The mind only obeys when it's trained, and training happens when you don't quit. Aman didn't respond. He didn't need to. He just kept filming. Days blurred into nights. He worked when his friends went out. He filmed under the scorching sun. He edited until dawn. At first, his work was clumsy, unfocused. But slowly, very slowly, it began to take shape. His shots improved. His storytelling deepened. More importantly, his discipline grew stronger than his doubt. Still, there were moments when everything felt like it was falling apart. One evening, after 12 hours of filming, Aman's camera fell and cracked. He stared at it, frozen. His throat tightened, tears welling up. It's over, he whispered. I can't do this anymore. He wanted to call Ravi and say he was done. But something stopped him, the notebook. The one goal, finish my first short film within 30 days. He sat there, in silence, gripping the notebook, feeling the rough paper under his fingertips. Then he stood up. He borrowed an old camera from a friend, fixed what he could, and kept shooting. That night, while editing, his computer froze and crashed. Half of his footage was gone. He stared at the blank screen for a long time, then laughed bitterly. You really want to break me, don't you? But this time, he didn't give up. He redid everything from scratch. By the end of the 30 days, Aman barely recognized himself. His apartment was messy, his sleep schedule ruined, but his eyes, those tired, sleepless eyes, were alive again. He walked into Ravi's studio with the final version of his film on a USB drive. Ravi watched silently as Aman played it on the projector. The short film was raw, emotional, imperfect. But it was real. It carried pain, discipline, and growth in every frame. When it ended, there was a long silence. Finally, Ravi spoke. You did it. Aman exhaled, shoulders dropping. Yeah, I did. Ravi smiled slightly. No, Aman, you didn't just finish a film. You built something far more powerful. A disciplined mind. That's worth more than any award. Aman felt tears sting his eyes. You really think so? Ravi nodded. The moment you decided not to quit, you already won. Success isn't about reaching the top. It's about refusing to stop climbing. Those words sank deep into Aman's heart. For the first time in years, he wasn't chasing motivation. He was the motivation. A few weeks later, Aman uploaded his short film to YouTube. He didn't expect much, maybe a few hundred views, a few kind comments. But within days, it exploded. Thousands of people watched, commented, shared. They saw his struggle, his honesty, his growth. One comment stood out among the rest. This film didn't just inspire me. It reminded me to fight for my dream again. Aman smiled as he read it. Because he realized something powerful. When you discipline your mind, you don't just change your life. You ignite others to change theirs too. Months later, Aman stood on a stage at a small local event. He was invited to speak about his journey as a creator. Looking at the audience, young, restless faces full of hope and fear, he began with a calm smile. Most people think success comes from talent, he said. But talent without discipline is like a candle in the wind. It burns bright, then disappears. Discipline keeps it burning when everything around you is dark. He paused, scanning the room. I wasted years waiting for motivation. Then I learned something simple. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. If you can control your mind, you can control your destiny. The audience was silent, completely drawn in. Aman looked down at his old notebook, now full of crossed-out goals and lessons. He raised it and said softly, "This little book taught me that the power of a clear goal can cut through any storm. If you're lost right now, set one goal. Focus on it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does." The crowd erupted in applause. And as the lights dimmed, Aman smiled to himself. He had finally become the filmmaker he once dreamed of being, not because he found motivation, but because he found discipline. Message: discipline is the bridge between desire and success. When you master your mind, no obstacle can defeat you.